I don't know who the producer is of Hustle and Heart, but when I say to you that this show is amazing, it is off to a wonderful start. I hope that continues. It has the tendency to become the number one show on OWN. I just hope they don't F it up. That is the first thing I want to say. I give this first episode a 10 out of 10. I don't usually like season premieres, not to talk of the first ever introduction to a season, to a show. But it was amazing. It was a very good opportunity for us to meet all of the ladies. All 6 ladies are amazing. I see what they bring to the show. I already see a lot of layers, which would be very interesting to see how they unravel. I think it was very interesting the way Chloe and Elena were talking. I feel like Chloe is on the other end of the spectrum where she doesn't really have a filter at all. She just says anything that she is thinking. And then Elena is on the other end, who is very prim and proper, thinks about everything before she says it, very concerned about public perception and presenting a particular front. And so it's very, very interesting to just see the dynamic. I will say in the conversation about the ring, I hear it, Chloe. Chloe was asking all the questions that we want to know. But I do think the way she asked these questions can be very abrupt. And I can imagine her causing a lot of drama on the show. I was with her until she said that man was not fine. I'm like, how are you going to sit in front of someone's wife and tell them that their husband is not fine? Like, that is not right. At least let them bring it up and then you laugh, not you bring it up and then arguing with her about how fine her husband is. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like her heart is not to come at Elena. I feel like her heart was genuinely to say, Elena, you're a baddie. You're such a good looking woman. And of course, he's lucky to have you. I feel like that's what she was trying to communicate, but she doesn't know how to communicate. So it comes across very brash, very abrupt, and of course, is not going to go down well with somebody like Elena. And I'm not surprised that it didn't. I honestly just wish that that was something she had addressed in that moment. But I also understand sometimes I can be like that, where if something happens in the moment, I need to process it first, think about it properly, and make sure I'm not overreacting before I actually respond. So that could be it. But I hope that the next opportunity that she gets to see this woman again, she addresses it once and for all. Now, when we talk about Chloe dating somebody that is about the same age as her son, I feel like that is entirely wild. I'm usually very supportive of like, do you, as long as it's legal. However, when it comes to someone that is the same age as your son, I feel like that adds an added layer of complexity. Because, for instance, if you see the way her son was talking to her and relating with her because he doesn't like that she's dating a younger man, see the disrespect that has now come as a result of that. Because he's thinking, I hold you to great standards and you're dating somebody that is literally my mate, somebody that I could be hanging out with in the streets. So now you don't respect my mother. Yet, I'm expected to respect my mother, but she's not doing things that are respectful. So as much as, it's not his place, he's a child, he needs to stay in a child's place, I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, when you're dating somebody who is as young as your son, you welcome such disrespect from your son, because your son is thinking, that's me. You're dating a form of me, and that's crazy. So I'm not shocked that the child has that response. Do I hope that he would have managed it better and stop giving his mom silent treatment? Absolutely. But at the same time, it's a very awkward situation. So I also understand maybe he doesn't want to talk about it, at least not on camera. One thing I'll say I picked up is I can already feel like there would be clashes with Latoria and Labrina. Latoria seems very sensitive to opinions. Now, I noticed that initially when she was talking about opening the restaurant, and she was saying that, she's welcoming opinions, supportive, and she wants people to be supportive. The way she phrased that, it's given she doesn't want any constructive feedback. All she wants is people's support, right? And the thing with that is, if you're trying to get that from people, then set the expectations with people. Don't invite people and think that people are not going to have opinions on what it is that you're doing. And so I can understand, like, if I were in her shoes, I would say, hey, girl, first of all, I'm inviting you to a soft launch. The truth of the matter is there are still things that we need to work on, like this, but I really just want to bring you here for support. I don't need unsolicited opinions, just support. That is it. That is all. If you know that you're too sensitive today and you can't take any constructive feedback because you're tired and you don't want to hear your friends give you feedback that you already know, then say that, right? Set the expectations. And I completely understand, because as a creative, it's okay to be sensitive about your craft, but then what actually helps is when you are open to opinions, right? But at the same time, I understand that sometimes you be sensitive in that moment. You do not want to hear nothing, no negativity. Imagine she probably already maxed out a lot of her savings. She's not trying to hear nothing that you have to say right now. She's just like, I do not want to hear it. But I do think that she is very sensitive to opinions. And I picked up on that because Labrina was talking about how service needs to be up the standard. Even if it's a soft launch, the service needs to be up the par. And I agree with that, because for me, if I'm bringing anyone over and I'm inviting people over to an event and a business that I'm doing, even if it's a soft launch, I'm going to make it a launch so that people leave with a wonderful experience, despite the fact that they are my friends. So I actually think what Labrina is saying is correct. And instead of Latoria being defensive, she could have just said, hey, girl, I completely get what you're saying. I think we're still trying to figure it out. But I agree with you that service is definitely on the forefront of what I'm thinking about. Today, I just wanted to open it for you guys. It's not really a launch, right? That could have been the end of it. But I just thought she was getting a little sensitive. And so I actually anticipate that there will be some clashes between Latoria and Labrina somewhere in this season. Let me know. I guess we'll watch together and see how that pans out, whether or not I'm correct. But I definitely think Latoria is being very sensitive about that. I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but it feels like Latoria is sort of being pushed out as the person that brings the ladies together. Because if you think about it, the first scene, she had her first event. And then the second scene is basically her inviting Elena over. And I'm like, oh, that's quite interesting. So it feels like maybe she was the one that like connected all the ladies together or something. Or maybe they're intentionally sort of building the show around her because of her personality. I'm not sure what it is, but I think we'll find out soon enough. But she invited Latoria over. And did you guys see how she somehow brought up the conversation about what Chloe said? And I feel like Elena played into it completely, but I do agree that Elena was out of order. What I wish had happened was, instead of having to have a separate conversation with Latoria about it, I would have preferred that it was addressed there and then. And like everyone literally said, like, girl, please, you can't be talking about her man. But then again, I also understand the people choosing not to say anything, because it's like, yo, if you're not saying anything, then why should I be out here caping for you when I don't even know you like that? But I feel like Elena played into a little bit when she said, well, she can't pull the kind of caliber of men I pull, like my husband. I was like, okay, girl. I do get the vibe that Elena is going to be very good in her confessionals. She's going to be shady in her confessionals. May not fully say that in the person's face, but she's going to be shady in her confessionals. I think she would also be shady when she's relaying conversations to other people. I completely get that impression. When I see how she navigates the relationship with the conversation with Latoria. I'm very curious to see a little bit more of that. But first of all, she is such a beautiful woman. And she was one of those OG makeup artists. I remember back in the day would be out here like watching her YouTube videos. Was it her YouTube videos or Instagram videos? One of those. Because I remember when I saw her face, I was like, her face looks familiar. And then they said she owns Color du Jour. I'm like, yes, exactly. I remember her. But anyway, So I think it'll be interesting to see a little bit more of that. I do think part of the issues that they have is they married so young. And whilst it works for some, for a lot of people, it's like you have so much life ahead of you. So you're going through all the different transitions. Some people don't grow at the same pace. They don't grow together. They grow separately. So it ends up with somebody wanting something and the other person wanting something differently. And the thing about it is like so much can happen in 20 years that can change a person. And if she is, like she said, she bottles things and doesn't exactly keeps a whole prim and proper attitude and brushes things under the rug, those things affect relationships because you're not addressing what the issues are. And so you have resentment, and then one day you wake up and you can't do it anymore, and then your partner is like, wait, I thought you forgave me for all of the things I'd done in the past. But the truth is you never did, because you never really addressed it, you never really got over it, you never really healed from it. So I do hope they get it together. And Labrina is such a beautiful woman. I don't know if you guys noticed that she had no makeup on and she looked absolutely stunning. She also has a beautiful home. And Elena looks so good in red. I was like, okay, girl, red is your color. I'm going to need you to wear a little bit more of that. And another thing that I loved was that when the girls basically sat outside and were just having their alone time, I believe it was Labrina, Minira, and Elena, I felt like they genuinely sat down together and it was a really good time. It was fun to watch. I really enjoyed their banter, the laughs. I also enjoyed watching Chloe, Ro, and Latoria together as well. And this is what I feel like when I say that they casted really good people. They casted people who actually have personality. And the good thing about that is those things, like personality naturally shows, because it's like you already have a lot of personality. So like if you think about Latoria, you can already tell Latoria is sensitive. She has a lot of personality. Chloe is a ish starter, loves to talk, very direct, very blunt, can come across as being rude. Labrina is the luxury girl. She's the girl that hosts parties and is classy and has wealth, and also seems to have a nice direct personality, not as brash as Chloe. And then you have Ro. Rose seems like the fun girl. You can have a good time with her. She's the girl that if you're trying to forget your ex and be outside, she's the girl that you call and can show you around. And then if you think about Munira seems like the one of the girls that is put together, has this facade of being always calm and collected, but she can be a firecracker. And then Elena is the shade queen. She can be a little bit shady. In the confessionals, you can tell like she's witty. So that's what I mean about they did such an amazing job casting these people, because one episode of this and I can already tell some of their personalities and ultimately what they bring to the show. And this is one of the reasons why I feel like it's such a good show, because it's like it's raw, it seems authentic, it seems like people are not trying to put on, they're just present. And I love that Elena had a thought about it. She sat down, rethought about the fact that Labrina asked her if she was good and she was trying to front, and went back there and was like, all right, girl, let me be honest. We ain't even had sex in 2 months. They're going through stuff. Now, she didn't tell us all the things that they're going through, but we can read in between the lines, because she did open up that he had cheated before they got engaged. And what I think happened is, if someone cheats before you guys get, or when you guys are engaged, there's a high chance that they will cheat in that relationship. So I will not be surprised if he cheated on her during the marriage, and that is what is causing the issues. Of course, in addition to other things, because it's never just cheating. Most times there's always other things as well. So, but I do think like that may be the catalyst for some of the issues that are going on at the moment. And I just loved how Labrina was able to love on her and even talk about her personal experience and just hug Like, genuinely, it made me feel like this is one of the reasons I love being a girl. It's like the quality of conversations, the depth of conversations. You can so like love on each other in a way that is so special. And I absolutely love that. That is one of the things that I love about being a girl. Anyways, I feel like that is it. I can't believe I'm watching a show for the first time and I'm in love. But let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap that bell button so you guys know every single time that I post or go live. And yeah, let me know what you're thinking. Do you have a favorite person so far? Let me know in the comment section below and I will see you guys in the chat. Thank you. Bye.